Was I pleased with the episode? I would say basically. I did get a lot of what I wanted. What's good people? Welcome to Whole Views. Thank you for clicking that thumbnail. My name is Corey, and today we're going to be talking about Loki, episode 5 of season 2. I want to get straight to it and talk about the fact that this episode for me is considered filler. It's a filler episode because we spend the majority of the time not actually moving the main story forward. We spend time with Mobius on his timeline. We get to learn the backstories of Casey and Hunter B-15, OB, and all the different people that are involved in the show, but we don't necessarily move the full narrative forward with the fact that everything kind of dissolved at the end of episode 4. Now, granted, we do get some development of Loki's character. We get him admitting that he loves working for the TVA, he loves his friends, he feels like they give him purpose and direction, and that is what he's fighting for. That's great stuff to see that Loki was a big time villain in the original Avengers films in the first Thor movie. And he's moved so far as a character to now confessing that he cares for other people and wants to be with other people, and other people give him a sense of purpose. Great stuff that can't be really replaced. It's valuable, right? We also get Loki establishing that he can control time slipping now, and he is now going to be using that probably in the finale to revisit all kind of moments in the show and piece together what can be done to fix the loom and avert the crisis that we saw in episode 4. Also, really big stuff that he can now control that time slipping. That's valuable. But if we're being honest, this does feel like a little bit of a letdown, and it's there in my opinion because we don't move the narrative as much as you would want to see the narrative move. And you can already see the picture being painted that none of what we saw in episode 4 and all those consequences and all those stakes just do not feel like they matter nearly as much now that we have a Loki who can kind of jump in and out of different moments in time. Was I pleased with the episode? I would say basically. I did get a lot of what I wanted. I really wanted to see, where does Mobius come from? Why does he love the jet skis? We get those questions answered. Hunter B-15, like, it was a big deal about her and her life and what she was doing on the timeline. Now as an audience, we got to see she was a doctor at some point on some timeline. Like, that's cool to see her working and doing things in civilian life. Probably the most dope as well as the most convenient thing that they did in this episode is make OB an actual astrophysicist, and then you give him the instructions needed to create a temp pad, and then you're moving throughout time, and he actually has the time to sit down on his timeline and create a temp pad, and then you can now conveniently walk all over the timeline. That was cool, but it just made a lot of sense to do that with that character. Like, I couldn't imagine Casey having the tools and the know-how to make things work and help save the day. Like, OB, new character on the show, showed so much promise and so much ingenuity and all the different things that were going on the show. It just made perfect sense to use him as the kind of easy way out, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was nice. Overall, I feel like they're setting us up for a finale that's probably going to be middling. It's not going to be nearly as impactful as I expected it to be if you were just talking to me after watching episode 4. I'm sure most people who really follow this stuff and is truly aware, we've all seen the different things that have been coming out of Marvel and are called and labeled news. Like, there's a whole bunch of things dropping, and people talked about the last 2 episodes of Loki being lackluster. I don't know if I would necessarily say that this was a letdown in the sense of it's going to lead to changes that Marvel needs to make down the road. But I must concur and I must agree that yes, this was a bit of a letdown in the sense of we came off a real emotional cliffhanger at the end of episode 4, and things felt really serious and really consequential, like stakes. If you watch my last video, I probably said the word stakes a whole lot, but those stakes don't seem as high now that Loki can just jump through time at will, and it just raises a bunch of more questions as to, like, what is he going to do now moving forward. At the end of season 1 of Loki, we had the threat of Kang, and it was a real deal. Here, I don't know how you end this thing and leave it in a way where there's going to be a sense of more to come. Who knows? There may not even be more to come from Loki, although it's probably one of the best shows that Marvel has created and has put out consistently for more than one season. So yeah, you would want to figure out a way to like keep this thing going for at least one more season and give some meaning to this character and the journey that he's been on moving forward. Don't know how they're gonna do that. If y'all have any theories, please let me know. One theory before I wrap up that really kind of stood out to me, and I feel like it's dispelled here. Someone said like Victor Timely stepped out, and instead of dissolving and dying, he's actually been split among all the different timelines, and this is how we end up with so many different versions of Kang that can have the intelligence and grow to be such a threat on so many levels. I actually think that's not true, because we saw other characters kind of disintegrate in that same way, and as they disintegrated in that same way, it did not appear that they were just going somewhere else. Like they faded into nothingness. So no, I feel differently than that person with that theory, and we'll see what develops in just a week's time. So come back and check out more videos. I'll recap that finale and come and discuss it with you all. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on the show. Do you feel like this episode was filler? Do you feel like it was a bit of a letdown coming off a big, high, emotional episode 4? I feel like it was, but please let me know in the comment section. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.